Alrighty, PG-13. This is G.I. Joe, and we're here to look at the 1985 Cobra Flight Pod, aka known as the Trouble Bubble. Cobra did have a lot of these trouble bubbles. Trouble bubble, trouble bubble. Now, when I was a kid, I did have two of these, and I think I stepped on one because the glass just shattered, or the plastic canopy cover just shattered in half. And you know, you'd always use these as, say, in battle or as their escape pod. Now, a huge drawback was this didn't have a bell shape, so it didn't plug in as good. So you'd always lose the jetpack. There goes the trouble bubble. Or, you know, you'd always make them get shot down. Somebody would fly in and just shoot them down. And that would be Wild Bill. Wild Bill would come in. And shoot down the trouble bubbles. Trouble bubbles. And well, they were a lot of fun to have. You know, I would have loved to have gotten more. And, you know, we will, because I'm pretty sure that Super 7 will be giving us some trouble bubbles. So that's one thing we can look forward to if there's no World War III. Now, another thing was, back in 1984, we did get a glider. Not a cheap styrofoam glider that came with a Viper pilot back in 1983, I think it was, or 82. But 83, I'm pretty sure. But we did get this Cobra Claw. And this was fantastic. I'd prefer a real, you know, plastic glider, not some cardboard crap or styrofoam or, you know, Hasbro pushing their Nerf crap. And, you know, this did have some cool little rudders that moved up and down. And, you know, the wings did come out a bit. And this was their jetpack. The Cobra Claw. You know, when you put your figure on underneath, and we're not going to press too hard, and you'd have them flying through the air. Now, this had two little missiles as well, and you know, it's a nice design. Also, the wings, you know, the wheels would fold under the wing here. And you'd have little missiles that you could fire off. And I did have one of these as a kid as well. And it was kind of cool. I'm not sure if you could mail away for one, but chances are you might have been able to. The premium offer. You know, some people also, they figured out they could hang these on their Cobra Terradrome. And they would just hang, no problem. You know, there's a little stabilizer here and a laser gun, just like the Trouble Bubble also had a laser cannon, little laser cannon on the bottom. And there's lots of other versions of the Trouble Bubble, but I only have these two. So now I also had this I think it was 87 Jetpack, another glider type. And this is cool, but a lot of them, you know, the back peg breaks off. And, well, these handles are usually too large for the figure's hands, so you can't really grip them in. But it also did have a couple missiles as well. And they came off a little easier than the other ones on the other one. But it's got some massive firepower here. Look at this firepower. Just laser cannons. And this was also one of the other vehicles you could use, you know, during your ground wars. Cobra swoops in. Oh, we've got the upper hand. And another vehicle that I did use a lot, and I did have two of, was the Cobra Fang. And again, you know, this is another vehicle that was constantly shot down by the dragonfly. But you know, you could fit 3 figures on here. And it did have 5 missiles, which kind of sucked the shape of these missiles. You know, they should have made them just a little bit larger, and they should have made them clip in better. Or maybe even had like a, I don't know, there should have been something designed better here. Maybe even just make the Fang a little bit larger. The new versions of the Fang suck. The detail's great, but they didn't design them for the vintage figures, so so you didn't buy more than one. Is there any way we could try to convert the other Cobra Fang into a vintage? I don't know. I don't think so, just because on how they've designed it. You know, the other version of the Fang would have been great, but again, they did not keep in mind the vintage figure, so you know, they didn't design this good enough. And well, even a modern figure is hard to fit in this. So again, lots of cool detail, but that's all it is. It's just for show. So you know, the cool thing about these smaller vehicles is you could army build them, and they were just fantastic, a lot of fun. Also, you could use them as like a drone. So here you would have the mine. You could sit inside there. It's got the big mine, big explosive flying kamikaze, as well as the glider also has a white missile that clips in. And I do have it somewhere in the room. No, I just didn't think about it until after I started the video. Another cool thing was the fire bats. They made other versions of the fire bats, and you know, some were for Joe, some were for Cobra. But again, I just convert everything to Cobra because you know, you're not going to use a fire bat for Joe. So, and the seats actually would probably fit in all of these parts. You could probably interchange with your original fire bat that we do have in the Terradrome. So the smaller vehicles, you know, you could fit, you can get tons of, and you could easily put them wherever you want. Because like here, you get, I could put the trouble bubbles in here, no problem. And then obviously the fire bat, you know, that is just fantastic design. But again, the Terradrome itself was missing a lot. You know, there's no missile command center or no extra features like that. No way to get to the lower surface or lower level in the Cobra Terradrome. And you have to build your armies of vipers. And, well, we have the Air Viper there. Now, they should have made them again, but they never did. Where the Joes, you know, you get into some cool stuff here. Like, I always loved the Sky Striker. That is just a marvel. Especially the new one that Hasbro did. Like, that is something you definitely need in your collection. If you've ever owned G.I. Joe or just getting into G.I. Joe, you know, if you want to get a fleet of these, a fleet, get a whole bunch, just go right ahead. They are beautiful jets. Oh, now, for smaller vehicles, I think this is the Dragon Hawk. Anyways, this helicopter only seats one. It would have been cool if it actually fit two. But again, for a smaller vehicle, this chopper is just beautiful. Like, you know, a lot of the smaller vehicles that G.I. Joe did have, some of them were pretty cool, and some of them just downright sucked. Like the little tiny locust. What is that? Spraying pesticide? It's almost like a beefed up Fang, but it's got way more firepower. Whereas the Fang, you know, you had this little gyrating laser. I actually like this design of laser. You know, it would have been cool if they would have had some mounted cannon on top of here that you could move around a bit. But one of the bad things about this color is it does discolor over time for your flight pods, your trouble bubbles. And you know, you always have Cobra Commander trying to escape in one of those. And it was just hours upon hours of fun playing with some of these smaller vehicles. But again, the larger vehicles are kind of cool. Now for customs, you know, I did get these from the dollar store, and they were like $4 or something. So I made some Cobra customs. You know, you just put some stickers on this. I could have painted them, I guess. I did have to take them apart to make the rotors actually work better. I think there's also some Leonard helicopters that I might have thrown into the mix somewhere down under. So we do have quite a few different kinds of customs. Let's see if I can reach in here, pull something out. No, that's just another one of these. Like $4 Canadian. You can't go wrong. So super cheap. You can get super cheap customs to throw into the mix. But I'm pretty sure I had some Leonard helicopters somewhere. I don't know what exactly happened to them. But you know, like lots of little smaller vehicles, like the night landing craft. You know, some of these are just fantastic to get for your army building. And even some of those modern vehicles, I believe that's like a sub. So the smaller vehicles did have a lot of, you know, a lot of playability and a lot more fun. You could definitely army build them. Like the water moccasin, I do want to get more piranhas. You know, I forget the names of everything because, you know, there's too many names. But it is a lot of fun, and you know, I do recommend if you're getting into G.I. Joe or just building your own collection, you know, there's a few basic vehicles that you definitely need, and that is the flight pods. And Super 7 will most likely be making flight pods. I hope they don't make any of those cheesy styrofoam gliders. I mean, yes, they'd probably be a lot of fun outside, and like I said, I did get one for my friend that died of cancer when we were kids, so, you know, it does hold some memories, but I don't want, you know, cardboard play sets. Majority of collectors out there don't want cardboard play sets. Plastic is cheap, and it should be easy to make. So, you know, if we could get some cool modular play sets that you can keep adding on to, that would be awesome. You know, you can make the bases for Joes or Cobras. Anyways, let me know in your comments down below what are your favorite smaller vehicles. And don't say the Cobra Buzzbore, because that sucks. If it was made larger, it would have been better. But you barely fit a figure in there. And like, we just looked at some of the motorbikes, and those are awesome smaller vehicles for the Joes, but this is for the Cobras. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share with us. Go!